Thank you very much, Elvis, and thank you everybody here. So, going back to my story, why am I, who was actually lucky to be brought up in a country with one of the cleanest air in Sweden, standing here talking in the low and middle income countries. So 20 years ago, I did my master thesis in Ecuador, in the rainforests in Amazon. And I encountered something that I will never forget. I saw one of those sacrifice zones of oil exploration in the Amazon. And I promised myself, then when I became a researcher, I will do everything I can to support these communities. So that's why I'm here. So the case that I'm working with now is 9 indigenous girls from the region that I have come back to, that I was there 20 years ago, and they have sued the state because they are experiencing really, really bad air pollution from the gas flaring, which are occurring just like from 50 meters to a few hundred meters from the houses where they are living. So there are 9 indigenous girls. And in 2021, they won a historic lawsuit against the state, which said that the state should remove the gas flares that was in proximity to the communities. So that sounds very good. But the ruling said that within 18 months they should close all those gas flares. But as happening in many places around the world, when this then becomes the real situation, they said that near or adjacent to the gas flares had to be within 100 meters from the gas flare, and the community had to be 20 houses within those 100 meters, which in then reality meant that they didn't close any gas flares. So I've been working and keeping contact with these communities, and I went there to support them, and they wanted to have evidence showing that the air pollution from the gas flares is not only a problem within 100 meters, but it's also a problem at further distance from the gas flares. So here is one house, and this is what it looks like in the communities. 24/7, you have this gas flare burning constantly, so the sky is always orange. And you can feel the pollution in your eyes and when you breathe. And so we went there. This is my son, Lucas, because as often when you have these pilot cases, you don't have so much money, so he was my assistant. And then we have my daughter here also. She's been assisting in India. But here we were measuring with the purple air sensors that we've heard earlier today, but also because it was a court case, we also needed to sample with filters, which is what is called the data quality of PM 2.5. You should measure also with filters and weigh them. So we are collecting PM 2.5 here. And here is one of those purple air monitors also. So we measured at the porches of the houses of people at different distances from the gas flare. And you can see here the different houses. We measured at 6 different houses near the oil facilities and the gas flares, and we measured the distances. And the resulting is, here you can see the, this is the WHO air quality guidelines, and these are the levels, and you can see that they are very much higher than the WHO air quality guidelines. And you can see these are the 6 different monitors, And you can see that the levels are basically the same for all the monitors. They all follow the same pattern. And you can see that it's not what they've been saying, it's the people's cooking, the driving, the levels, because then you would see a larger variety. But you can see it's a single source that are driving the pollution in this area. So this is a first pilot study, and we are hoping to continue going there and doing additional measurements of not only the PM2.5 as a mass, but also including measurements of different gases, and do a proper health impact study on these communities. And this is another case. It's from Ethiopia, where I've been working since 2018. And this was a worry from a school teacher, where you can see to the right-hand side. And he had a medical background, and he was worried that the school children were exposed to high levels of air pollution in the areas. So you can see here, this is a city called Adama, and it's on the way between Djibouti, which is a harbor city, and Addis Ababa. So everything that is transported from Djibouti to Addis Ababa goes through this city of about 300,000 inhabitants called Adama. And the red road that you can see going around, there is a nice road going around the city, so nobody would actually have to drive through the cities with these vehicles that Elvis has told us about, like very, very old vehicles and very dirty fuels. But the poorest drivers of the trucks with the most pollution, they cannot afford, because that road is a toll road. So they cannot afford to drive on that road. So they drive instead through the city to save a bit of money, which is understandable because they don't have much money. So they wanted us to see, would it be maybe better and cheaper in the long run for the government to not have a toll, but then have less health impact. So we put up measurements, and you can see all those little numbers are monitoring. We measured at 40 places around this city, and we created something called the land use regression map of the levels of this NO2 and PM2.5 in the area. And this is the results of the study, which was led by a PhD student called Asma Maabera, so he should take the credits for this. And you could see that the highest levels of air pollution is the roads going through the cities with those trucks. And then we also did health impact assessment, and we also followed the health of pregnant women, and saw the impacts both on neonatal mortality, but also on birth weight of the children. So in my last, and this is one of the first air pollution meetings that we held in Addis Ababa, where we tried to get, not me, but the people there tried to get policymakers and scientists to work together on the issue of air pollution, and bridging different disciplines, in getting both health ministries and environment ministries and people working for the different government sections to work together on this topic. And we had a lot of PhD students. They were there and learning about this policy science interaction. And my last example is from India, where we were asked by an NGO called Mamta, who works for Mother and Children Health in India. And they were worried that the monitoring stations in Delhi were not representable of the informal settlements, where they were thinking that the levels were much, much higher. So we performed studies measuring the air pollution also in many different places of Delhi. And I just want to acknowledge that this is a work of many, many people who do all this work together, and they should all be acknowledged together with those that funded these studies. Thank you.